I was born in a log cabin in northwestern Minnesota. My parents were dirt farmers, sharecroppers. It wasn't the kind of life I wanted to live. I knew there was something better somewhere, at least for me. So 2 months and 1 week after my 17th birthday, I joined the United States Navy on April the 3rd of 1941. After boot camp, we left San Diego for the Naval Air Station on Ford Island, right in the center of Pearl Harbor. They put me in what they called the beach party, working maintenance on amphibious patrol aircraft. You forget the bib overalls, I kidded my folks. My uniform in Hawaii is tennis shoes, shorts, and swimming trunks. I stayed in that beach party until December the 7th, 1941. That morning, I was assigned to security watch. Everything looked ship-shape, so I parked myself in a personnel office. I figured a fancy typewritten letter would really impress my mother. Over the clacking of the keys, I could hear approaching aircraft. Nothing unusual about that. We were a naval air station. Planes came and went. At first, I thought it was some of our pilots doing a little hot dogging. Boy, I said to myself, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes when the commanding officer gets hold of them. The next thing I knew, there was a tremendous war. Bomb fragments and shattered glass tore into the back of my head and shoulders. It took me a minute or two to get my thoughts back on track after the concussion of the blast. When I got outside, I could make a Japanese Zero in a steep power drive. Machine gun bullets from that plane were popping and buzzing, and they were whizzing all around me. The duty officer ordered everybody in the ditch to protection. I don't want to be in any damn ditch, I said. We're military men. We should be putting up a fight. I told an ordnance man, let's get guns and ammo and shoot these sons of bitches. If I was going to lose my life in this or any battle, I knew damn well I'd want my family and country to know I did it fighting, not hiding. We made it to the ammo shack. Give me a .50 caliber machine gun, I said to the ordnance man. My country boy hunter instinct just took over. If any enemy aircraft came in my field of fire, I shot at it. The last plane to come into range was in a fast banking left turn. I squeezed that trigger and I saw 2 of those tracer bullets just forward of the cockpit. It did an abrupt roll and it disappeared. The smoke from the airfield put up such a heavy cloud, it obliterated about everything. But I could still see the USS Nevada making a run for open water. Those Japanese pilots were on it like a swarm of bees. They dropped 5 bombs, knocked holes in the galley and the upper decks, but she made it through. When the Arizona exploded, it sounded like the crack of doom. I felt the heat blast all the way across the channel. The bow flew off from tons of gunpowder down in the hole. Not long after, I saw the Oklahoma capsize. "400 men were trapped on that ship when it rolled over. Nobody could get to them in time. It took days to recover all the bodies floating in water. Our mess hall became a triage hospital. The corpses were stacked up in piles like cordwood. That's a sight you never forget. When I went to my duty station that morning, I was a 17-year-old sailor boy trying to be a military man. When it was over, I think I was going on about 34. But I can tell you, I was grateful to be a part of the response to the attack on December the 7th. And I stayed part of the fight straight to the end. Last thing I did was participate in the surrender of a Japanese garrison on an atoll in the Marshall Islands. We hauled down their flag and raised the Stars and Stripes. When my service to my country ended, I left the war behind me, got busy trying to build a civilian life. I figured what we did had to be done, and now that was over. It was finished. I packed it all away in a box and closed the lid on it and put it aside and forgot about it. And it stayed that way for 64 years. Until my daughter took me back to Pearl Harbor. There on the honor wall of the USS Arizona Memorial were the names of the 1,176 men who gave their lives in action on that ship. I looked down at the sunken hull rusting on the bottom of the harbor and made a solemn promise to the heroes who died that day. I would do everything I could to bring them honor and remembrance they deserved. When I finally started to talk about my experience as a Pearl Harbor survivor, people asked me if I'd be willing to share my story with young people. They said if veterans don't share their experience with their children, their grandchildren, with students at school, then that history will die with them. So I thought, if I don't do it now, who? When? But I do not do this alone. The spirit of 2,400 others pushes me on. Otherwise, they'd be forgotten. And none of them should be forgotten. From the very beginning, brave Americans have answered the call of the country. They stepped forward, put on a uniform, laid their lives on the line, and made the ultimate sacrifice so others could experience the liberties and freedoms they themselves might never see. I stand on their shoulders. We stand on their shoulders. All of us, every American.